Welcome to the second part of our presentation. Here, we'll be focusing on data consolidation and finding a way forward with the information we have gathered. The next phase of our process is iterating our results from the fieldwork and exploring our observations. In the week following our fieldwork, we processed all of the information that we had gathered in the field in order to understand it in terms of the theory of McSneef's matrix of needs. This is how we went about the processing of the information in this week. On day 1, we collected all the information from our notes. On day 2, we organized this information to understand it better. And on day 3, we had discussions about the information gathered to analyze it and project possible focus group questions. Focus groups were then held with the questions we developed in order to brainstorm possible solutions to meet the needs of the people of Melusi. It is important to understand the grouping we used to go about this process. To make sure all data was fully captured for each game, we first split off into our game groups. All of the answers and information we gathered on site are to relate to the matrix of human needs. The following process is to organize the answers into this matrix. On the first day of processing, we gathered all the answers from our notes of honor students and interns and placed them onto their relevant place on the matrix. This was either by directly placing the answers to the corresponding questions on the matrix, or by determining where the information belonged on the matrix, regardless of which specific question was answered. This is because sometimes a response suits more to another prompt, and we believe that the accuracy of classification was more important than one-to-one documentation. At the end of the day, each game group had transcribed all their answers and information over to their corresponding place over all 3 matrices. This is simply the method used to ensure all information from all the games is gathered and correctly placed. Now the groups can comprehensively work within the classifications of satisfiers, impediments, and utopia. For the second and third day of information processing, we ensured that the game groups did not work in isolation and miss information gathered from other game groups. We did this by having 1 to 2 students or interns from each game group divided into a group for satisfiers, impediments, or utopia, depending on each student or intern's area of interest. Within these groups on day 2, we worked on consolidating all the information from all the game's group matrices into one consolidated matrix per topic group. This helped us to see all the information gathered together in order to start identifying patterns. In order to show these patterns we identified, we organized and categorized the information within each cell. We did this without reducing the information. All instances in which an answer was recorded was shown, so that frequency and similarities of responses can be seen. For example, in the cell relating to the question for subsistence and having on the utopia matrix, answers were divided into tangible and intangible desires and needs. Within tangible needs, there is a further distinction between physical needs and services. Within the services category, each instance in which a need of water is recorded and shown. This allows the information to have a numeric component without reducing the nuances of each individual answer. Finally, on day 3 of information processing, we analyzed the information across all 3 matrices to find possible bridges and synergistic satisfiers of the needs identified. We did this by working within the previous 3 topic groups from day 2, but this time splitting the axiological needs between the 3 groups in order to work across all matrices. In understanding all of the satisfiers and impediments of, for example, the need for protection, and understanding the ideal examples of protection the people of Melusi would like to experience, we can come up with relevant and precise questions to ask in the focus groups regarding satisfying the need for protection. Now we will go into the consolidation phase of this process, where we will review our findings and attempt to find a way forward. This phase focused around holding the focus groups to dig deeper into the responses given during the fieldwork. All participants who indicated interest in the focus groups discussions were invited to the focus groups. On the first day, we validated our data gathered in fieldwork through focus group discussions with the community. Then, on the second day, we re-evaluated our answers towards finding bridges between the needs. On the third day, we asked these questions in the community focus groups with the hope of identifying synergistic interventions that could be implemented in Melusi. The data validation process consisted of reviewing the data in the consolidated matrices that were set up during the information processing week. The aim was to confirm whether the data that was collected reflected the needs of the community accurately. We would ask questions like, does this response accurately reflect the beliefs of the community in your opinion? This is all to add another layer of information over the responses we received so that we could move forward with cross-examined information. This was in the form of discussions between honor students, community members, senior researchers, and minor field researchers. To understand the following grouping, we turn our attention back to the 9 axiological needs introduced by Max Neef: subsistence, protection, affection, understanding, participation, idleness, creation, identity, and freedom. On the following day, we split into 3 groups based on these axiological needs to have a more focused discussion. On this day, we re-evaluated our questions to find bridges to reflect the validated data. We focused on information in the interacting column because this column focuses on tangible spaces where needs are met, and that is the desired outcome of the project. Each group developed 3 questions, one for each axiological need, to try and find synergistic intervention ideas. On the third day, the groups asked their questions in community focus groups. Different media for communication were used to convey ideas, such as sticky notes, sketching, and writing. The final phase of our project was to develop proposals based on the information gathered from the focus groups and to reflect on the process through stakeholder presentations and discussions. For the next part of our presentation, the 3 groups will explain their findings from the focus groups and present what types of proposals this could lead to for Melusi. After all of this, the plan for this project is for the research and proposals done this year to inform the community action plan done next year. This allows the plans developed to have geographically accurate and humanly relevant information to work with. Thank you to Maido and the community field researchers who helped facilitate the studio. Thank you to Dr. Karen Kombrink and Jason Oberolster for supervising and coordinating the studio. Thank you to the interns for assisting with the project, and thank you to the members of Melusi for partaking in the games and focus groups.